The Dark Lord of Christmas is here, and I cannot be more excited. I love this sprite. This is amazing. The artwork is fantastic. This is a great unit, an excellent job by IS. But let's talk about what a pain this is going to be, because this unit has a lot of things going for him. So, all right. The thing that Fomortiis has always been big on is Daunts, and this unit has a ton of them. But first off, we have Slaying. We have an extra little bit of cooldown at start of player and enemy phase, and this unit is made to be self-sufficient. We're going to see Shield Fighter hit in a little bit. We already see Aegis. The thing that you have to do with Aegis and Shield Fighters, you have to have Marth in order to get the everything to line up so that you get Aegis to proc properly. This unit is independent of that, so you can put something else on there like Ike, which is fantastic. But let's get on to this other stuff. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is greater than 75% at start of combat, inflicts penalty on foe's attack defense equals 20% of unit's defense at start of combat plus 6. Unit deals plus X damage. X equals total value of number of foes defeated by unit's team on the current turn, and the number of foes that have already performed an action times 3 plus 10, max of 19. Okay. So max of 19 sounds huge, and don't get me wrong, it is. But I want to point out that the thing you want out of your far save most is that first hit, because they're the tip of the spear. They're the thing that the other player is going to smack first. And so this is not completely optimal. It's not a bad thing. We don't want a unit that's just busted as all get out. But understand that this is a unit that gets stronger as the turn goes on. And you usually want your far save to be strongest at the beginning of a turn. But this is still a really incredible unit. We have some other things as well. Reduces damage from foes attack by X, so we have flat damage reduction, and neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown charge minus X, so you have guard on there. And also, if unit special cooldown count is at its maximum value after combat, grant special cooldown -1 to unit after combat. So you can loop those Aegis effects, which is really, really fantastic. And by the way, that was null guard, not guard, but anyway. So, then we have at start of turn, if unit is adjacent to only beast or dragon allies, or unit is not adjacent to an ally, unit transforms. If unit transforms, grants attack +2, and unit can counterattack regardless of foe's range. So you have that DC that we've seen in so many beast armors. Next up, you have Aegis. Aegis makes a lot of sense with this unit because we're about to see Shield Fighter, because of course we do. It's the absolute best B skill in the game right now, period. Probably the most influential skill in the game at this point. But we know what that is. Let's go back to Leaden Regrets. The first part of this is just that easier transform condition that can happen immediately that we've seen in a lot of units, and is very, very good on this unit if you want to use this unit on Aether Raid's defense. Not so much a big deal on Aether Raid's offense or in summoner duels, but you obviously they want this unit to be able to be used in all capacities there. If unit is transformed or foe initiates combat, inflicts attack defense -10 on foe because you needed more Daunts, and reduces damage from foe's follow-up attack by 80%. Now that is pierceable, but it is on Brave, and reduces the percentage of foe's non-special. Essentially, we have piercing there, 50% piercing, which is about standard. And then if foe initiates combat, after combat, closest to foes within 4 spaces of target who have yet to act have their actions end immediately. So that's the big thing, right? You have tons of Daunts, a lot of great ways for this unit to survive, and if the opposing team fails to take this unit out, they get punished by getting their actions taken away. And that is something to behold, especially with Shield Fighter, because Shield Fighter is so powerful right now and only has very specific ways that you have to counter it. Namely, you have to either have a unit that ignores defensive specials, which we do have a few, or you have to quad hit. And it's that 4th hit that's really going to do the damage. That's the thing you want to watch out for. So, this is pretty fantastic altogether. We need to go look at one more thing though, and that is this new far save skill, which is Briar Far Save. And the gist of this is we have all the stuff that far save normally have with the extra stats, but we have an additional 5 flat DR, which is fantastic. And then we have an additional true damage that you get, which is also fantastic. It works perfectly into what Fomortiis is doing and is going to be really good on a lot of different units. One of the things we've been talking about is that Shield Fighter really nerfs your ability to kill things, and this Briar Far Save is trying to put that back into the unit. But we need to talk honestly about Fomortiis. Fomortiis is going to be really good on defense and on SD. This is not a unit that is quite as bulky as a couple other that we have. One of the things is this unit is going to be weak to AoEs, and that's a big thing that's going around right now, where you have someone like Nagi who is resistance to that, and that makes her very, very powerful. But the benefit here, if you can keep this unit alive by ending actions on the opponent's turn, that is incredible. Taking away the action economy of the other team is always very valuable and worth the extra effort if you can keep the unit alive. I think this unit is going to have a fairly easy time staying alive. There's going to be a few select units that are going to be really common though, who are able to give him trouble, and you're going to need to find some sort of answer to that. Right now, Lucina is the nuke, and that 4th hit is such a big deal. Okay, I want to look right here. This is a unit that's going to hit him twice, and you can see on this last hit, she is going to absolutely smack the crud out of him through Shield Fighter. Yeah, down to 2 health. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, this unit is not invincible, and I know this is just a highlight reel, and those aren't always the best measurements, but what they do try to show you is different things that they are designing the unit for. You've got to understand that there is a message that they're generally trying to send with their highlights, even if they don't always do the best job of this. This unit is going to have units that are able to take it out, but when you can't, he's going to punish you severely. But let's look at the tier list, and I'm very high on this unit, so I know I've been basically saying all of this caution. That tier 0 is, I believe, the units that can withstand quad hits, and I really, when I say quad hits, I'm talking about Bernie and Lucina are the 2 main ones, and Hector can do that all on his own with all of the greatness that is him, along with Divine Veinstone. That unit is absolutely fantastic. Fjorm can do it if she outspeeds them, which technically means they don't quad, but you kind of get my meaning there. I believe Fomortiis has enough daunts that he's going to be able to survive, but I don't know that it's going to be by much, and that's really what I worry about. But keep in mind, if he survives by 2 health, that means another unit's turn is ended on the opposing team, and that's not a small deal. That is why I have this unit in tier 0. Tier 1 for the Far Saviors, and keep in mind, Far Saviors right now are Far Saviors are very, very contentious because they are very niche. And when I say niche, it's not like what we usually mean with Far Saviors can only be used in certain places. Each of these individual Far Saviors have places where they go really well. Just looking at tier 0, depending on what you need, you could have that all reordered. And I couldn't argue with you. Like, those are all very good units in their own right. Tier 1 are units that have a lot of good things, but I don't believe are as versatile as the tier 0 units. And we have Myrrh, who has, anti-warping is still excellent. It's not as strong as it used to be, but it's still excellent, and putting Shield Fighter on her just makes her even more strong. Neathhogger is fascinating, and I know there are some diehard fans who are going to say that she really should be in tier 0. I think she misses it, but I still think she is an excellent unit and worth your time if you have not taken a look at her. I know she is still summonable, and if you are a Savior fanatic, I think she is going to be a very fun one to play with. We won't go over the others. Those are older, and I really want to get to the other units in this banner, but know that Far Saviors right now are in a really interesting place, and they are not they're not the thing that just ends all and defeats an entire team every time. But they are very powerful and have a lot of interesting uses right now. Next up, we have Christmas Shez with dueling daggers because, of course, I mean, that's what you have to have with her, right? So we have her on a horse with a new disarm skill, taking on Ike. Because, yeah, I mean, Ike is definitely a unit that you like to see a showcase against, but this is Red Fist Blades, and it's a green dagger. Okay. So we have Slaying, we have unit attacks twice, which brave attacks are very, very good. I say good. They're almost essential right now for any sort of ranged unit. They are something that you really need to be able to get through Shield Fighter, and that is just everywhere right now. At start of turn, essentially you get Insight attack speed, which is really nice, and you get special cooldown charge +1 per attack during combat, which is very good, and that's actually to unit allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. We've seen how restrictive that can be, and we can get other ways of cooldown charge. The thing is, what you really want is special jump. Like that has taken the place of any kind of special acceleration, and this is still good though. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants bonus to units, attack speed, defense res, equals number of foes within 3 rows or 3 columns. It's going to have a big formula, and most of the time it's going to be 14. 14 is about standard right now. Deals damage equals 20% of unit speed, and reduces damage from foes' first attack by 7 during combat. That includes Braves. This is an okay start. We have Luna, and then we have Swift Ice. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants an Omni +8 to unit and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30%, and that includes Braves. That's just okay. Neutralizes effects, we get full no follow-up, and then we also get 50% piercing. Both of those are really good. But you can see we've got a lot of things in the good category, and we don't have stuff that's in the amazing category yet. We then have I'm not going to read this because you guys have seen this a couple times on Shez before, but Shez gets the crazy effective damage depending on who she's going up against and how much speed she has over the opposing unit. Speed is going to be very, very important to this unit. So, all in all, we have a lot of good stuff on this unit preference-wise. Moving on, we do have Full Disarm, which I like. There are extra bonuses here. We also get we get Null Guard, which is fantastic, and then we get, of course, Disarm Trap, and the new Disarm Trap that helps you versus Hex Traps. So in Aether's offense, this is going to be a lot of fun, and Pulse Smog, of course, is excellent, especially against units like Ike. Okay, so this is a good unit, but we are very much at a dividing line for nukes. You need to either have an AoE or you need to consistently get quads off that are strong enough to pierce through the shield fighter armors like we just saw Fomortiis being. And the question is, can this unit do that? And I think the answer is sometimes. I think that's really it. And we do have a good showcase here. I mean, she goes up against Ike. It's a good way to be. But remember, these are really trying to send you a message of what they intend, not so much of what is actually going to happen. It still takes to that last hit, and this Ike has no real support to speak of. So keep that in mind. But that's still something to look at. Like they definitely want this unit to be a nuke. If we look at the tier list, I don't have her in the tier 0 range. Bernie and Lucina right now are able to consistently get quads off, and they absolutely demolish folks with them. So I am higher on them right now. Understand though that the thing that this unit is going to be able to do very well is take out Fjorm. And that alone makes her very good. So I have her at the top of tier 1, but I still don't have her as high as the other two. I think the other two just they do a little better job. Now, if you get this unit and find out otherwise, we can definitely look at that. There are a lot of things going on in these units right now. This unit is definitely a pure damage dealer though, and the tier 0 units are pure damage dealers plus to a lot of other things, and I have a hard time putting her up in that same tier. About once a banner, they try to put an interesting unit on the banner, and I believe this is that unit. Now, I want you to think of past interesting units like Emerin, and Emerin is incredibly strong. Emerin is not a unit that is for everyone, but for those who use her, she's still performing very, very well. This unit in particular has some interesting things, and Ice Lock might be the most interesting among them. The thing that this unit is trying to be is the supportive nuke role with a heavier emphasis on nuke. And that is a hard thing for healers to be right now because they lack a lot of the tools. So, Snowman Staff, we have Sling, we have Foe Cannot Counterattack, unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of an ally, so we have the warping shenanigans that are so fantastic. If Rally or Movement Assist skill is used by unit, grants Foe Penalty Doubler and special cooldown count -1 to unit, target allies, and allies within 3 spaces of target ally after movement. That's very nice. Foe Penalty Doubler is underrated as a skill, and a lot of that is because it is harder to get. Being able to hand that out is a very, very big deal. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants bonus to units attack speed equals 6 plus 20% of unit speed at start of combat, and neutral, you get full no follow-up, which is fantastic, and deals damage equals 20% of unit speed during combat. So, okay. That is a lot of good stuff, especially the amount of support this unit gets is pretty fantastic. But then we have Ice Lock Plus, and there's a lot of stuff in there, but the biggest thing is you put out Divine Vein Ice. I mean, that is a big, big deal. This is treated as an assist skill, and that's because of the stuff above. Restores HP equals 40% of units attacked, target, and grants defense res +6 to target ally for 1 turn. And also, if there's no ice, you apply ice, and it's in that triangle formation that Robin is so famous for. That's really good. If used on turn 2 onward, also grants another action to unit and restricts movement to 1 space on unit and pair up cohort through the next action. So, we've seen things like this with Magic Shield, but this is much better than Magic Shield. I want you to imagine, now this is a scoring, this scores, I want you to imagine being able to use this in Arena to slow down all the stupid stuff that's going on there. Now, understand that you can slow anyone down here. That is good for a lot of different things. You can slow folks down in Aether Raids, offense, defense. Ice is all about slowing the game down, and having it on an inheritable like this is very good. The question is, are the healers good enough to be able to utilize this? And the answer is sometimes. So that is a little more complicated. On offense, the answer is definitely yes. On defense, I think you can do some interesting things, but since this unit isn't going to hit as hard, it's going to be more difficult. But let's move on. Holy Pressures is definitely nice, and we love the low cooldown. Attack Speed Catch is very, very old. Poetic Justice for the extra damage. But you notice no piercing there, and that's a big thing. Like that's you have to have piercing because they hand out percentage DR like crazy. So this unit isn't going to be able to do a lot of damage. And then last we have Twinkling Anima. At start of turn, if unit's HP is greater than 25%, grants attack speed +6. You remember before we got defense res, we're getting full Omni buffs there. Kanto 1, and the following stats to unit and allies within 3 spaces of unit for 1 turn. Neutralizes penalties on unit during combat. So, that's fantastic. We neutralize penalties on us, we give foe penalty doubler, and things go crazy. So this is really trying to turn the tide of all debuffs everywhere. that's really nice. And then we have at start of turn, if unit's HP is greater than 25%, inflicts speed res -7, panic, and discord on closest foes and any foe within 3 spaces of those foes through their next action. So we have even more support right there. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed +5 to unit, neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown -X on unit, and reduces the percentage of foes' non-special reduced damage by X% skills. There it is. Piercing. Finally, on a healer. So, is this unit going to kill things? Sometimes. This unit is going to be an interesting clean-up unit. And at this point, we should probably move over to the tier list. And I would like this unit a lot better if they were a flyer. There'd be a lot of interesting things you could do. As a cav, it's tough. This is a really interesting unit. Folks are going to have ways to use this unit that are just fascinating, but I can't help but feel like the most, when you're talking about competitive play, the most influential thing this unit is going to have is that ice lock, and being able to give that to other units is going to be incredible. So it's something to keep in mind, but just know this is a lot of stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry, we were doing the tier list. We're doing support heroes, and support heroes, again, this is the hardest tier list there is, because there are a lot of really good units out there that do the supportive nuke role. I've got this unit in tier 2, but please understand that does not mean this unit is bad. Tier 2 in this particular tier list is very good, and if you're a Hortensia fan, I think you're going to find some really interesting ways to use her. And summoners, that is just so much. There's so much in this kit, both buffs and debuffs. So I just keep that in mind. This is an incredible unit. She has a lot of standard things that she puts together and is able to use as one unit, whereas the units above her all have special things about them. So I just keep that in mind. That is the big thing right there. And then we have dueling Alears. And Sami. Sami's the real hero of this. Like take those other way. I just want a Sami unit. Now, you would be forgiven if you immediately look at that and say, "Oh my God, they have Savior." Just remember that Tree Boy hands out a signed decoy, and that's what's going on there. This is a really interesting unit. So I am wildly torn on how exactly to handle this thing. We have wintry arts, we have slaying, and we have brave. And then at start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants divinely inspiring to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. Divinely inspiring grants bonus to your attack speed defense res equals X times 3. X equals number of allies with divinely inspiring effect within 3 spaces, excluding unit, max of 2. So, I mean, keep in mind that's an Omni 6. It's not amazing, but grant special cooldown count -X to unit before foe's first attack. That is very nice. And when unit deals damage to foe during combat, restores X times 4 HP to unit during combat. That is also very nice. So all in all, this is a really, really neat effect that is going to be very helpful to this unit and to the allies around them. Next, we have, if unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants an Omni +5 to unit, inflicts penalty on foes, attack speed defense res equals number of distinct game titles, and you guys have seen the crazy thing. Most of the time this is going to be 10. Unit deals damage +X, and X equals 5 times the total number of distinct game titles, on and on and on, max of 15. This is a lot of stats. And then reduces damage from foe's first attack by X during combat. So you get 15 true damage. I mean, what do you get in stats here? This is so much. You get 10 stats and a ton of extra true damage. This is very nice. You get adaptive damage, which is great. And then we stop there. So that's a lot of stuff here. We have Dragon's Roar, which is really nice because it is both ranged and melee. You get to use it during both. But moving on, we have Emblem's Miracle. I'm not gonna say this is bad. This is a very good A skill, but I expected something new. And we didn't get it. So I mean, this is the same thing we've seen before. This is a very, very good A skill. We have DC. We have a whole bunch of stats. The big thing here you get is Miracle, which is fantastic. But yeah, I mean, we have legendary Alears A skill right here. We have Speed, Res, Spiked Wall, and the Spiked Wall is very, very good and one of the things you need to have. And then you have Even Res Wave D. Okay, so as an Omni tank right now, especially in the high mobility era that we're at right now, because frankly we have way more movement that we should have for the size of maps that we get. It is almost possible for you with very little effort to go from one corner of a map to the next in one turn with the unit. That is absolutely nuts. So you need definitely some kind of bulwark, and you've got it. Like that's good. Like, check. You need null counter disrupt because of how much there is right now. I mean, this unit is automatically going to have an issue in light season because of the tree. The tree is going to make things very hard. And you could say, yes, you need Felicia, Winter Felicia, and you'd be just fine. But not everyone has that unit, and it is tough to take up a support slot with that. Plus, you have to worry about warping, and that's... Anyway, Barricade, by the way, is an excellent C skill that you could put on this unit, but then you'd have to get rid of Even Res Wave D. But probably that's the way you'd want to go, and then have your NCD as a support. But there's something else missing here. Very, very important. You notice there's no piercing. That's kind of core to what units need to do right now. So I am very concerned with how well this unit is going to be able to kill things. And the way they tried to accommodate for that was to put it in the duo skill, but that's not where you want it. Like, not at all. You really need that in the weapon, the preference skill. You need that readily available. If you keep on stacking up things that you need to add to the unit in order for them to function, it gets difficult. That's really it. Like, the harder it is for this unit to function, the more supports that you need, the less likely that the unit is going to be able to function. And this unit has a lot of great things going for them, don't get me wrong. Survivability on this unit is fantastic, but the duo skill is neutralizes penalties on unit and allies within 3 spaces of unit and grants the following to unit and those allies for 1 turn, neutralizes foes' bonuses during combat, that's excellent, and piercing of 50%. and you get to use this one a lot, like this is every 3rd turn, but still, he really needed piercing. That is absolutely critical. So, if you can get both piercing and null counter disrupt on this unit, then you're fine. This unit's probably going to perform very well. But if we look at the tier list, that means I've got him in tier 1. And I know Sita, for one thing, is very, very strong, and Erica is just fascinating because there are so many weird and crazy things that unit can do. But because they are attuned units, it means you can get more things on them. In particular here, obviously Erica has NCD, but you can get that on Sita, and that is very, very powerful. It's why Tamara is so far up there. All those things I listed. Tamara has piercing and can get null counter disrupt and has bulwark built in, and that's why she's the best Omni tank in the game right now. Even Ike has a lot of things going for him still. It's still a very good unit. So I am not high on this unit. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. I love to hear theories on how you're going to make these units work. Let me know. I love to see teams. Ping me in the Aether Raids chat and show me how you're using this unit on offense and how you're just killing things. I love seeing replays. I'm not kidding there. Absolutely love that. But yeah, this unit is good. Tier 1 is good, but I really needed at least one more thing for this unit to just excel. Once a year, I do something a little different and look back on just different things in FE, and this last year was the music of Book 8, which I really enjoyed. I think it was excellent. I did a whole video on it, put it together, a whole bunch of fun stuff. I'm leaving the link here. Members, you are amazing. Thank you for all that you do. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.